shouted at Donald Trump's lawyer and even questioned his credibility, guys. Things are off to a bit of a rocky start. You know, the judge pretty much loses it, shouts at Donald Trump's lawyer. DA Bragg's case is falling apart. Yeah, I guess we're pretty much on par for the course. But seriously, guys. So now you got to remember, we're at the very early stages of Donald Trump's trial here. And a lot of analysts are already saying that Merchan is pretty much laying out the cards right now. And he's also showing exactly which side he's on. And I think we kind of already knew what side he was going to be on before this case even began. But what even proved the point even beyond what we initially thought is look at this, guys. Breaking news. So Donald Trump, in the middle of his case today is April 25th. It's 1:20 in the afternoon. Donald Trump asked to step out for a little bit. Why? Well, we'll get into that in just a second, right? So the New York prosecutors in Donald Trump's hush money trial are saying that former President Donald Trump continues to violate the gag order. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But big news, this just happened. Donald Trump asked to skip the New York proceedings for the day so that he could sit in on the high court's special session where the justices over in the Supreme Court are weighing whether he could be prosecuted over his efforts to reverse his 2020 election loss to Joe Biden. Now, we already know who really won that election, right, guys? If you know what's up, type it in the comments right now. Now, Donald Trump's request was denied by Judge Juan Merchan, who's overseeing the trial on the hush money scheme that was allegedly meant to prevent harmful stories about Donald Trump from surfacing in the final days of the 2016 campaign. So basically, Donald Trump said, hey, quote, I think the Supreme Court has a very important argument before it today. I should be there. This is what Donald Trump said in court to the judge. And so essentially, we understand that Donald Trump's the proceeding in front of the Supreme Court today will determine whether or not Donald Trump can even be held accountable for a lot of the cases that are currently being presented in front of multiple judges at the moment. And so if he is immune because he was president at the time, this could very well throw all the cases out. So it totally makes sense why Donald Trump would want to sit in on that case, right? But of course, Juan Merchan has shown his true colors and let everyone know that, hey, no, you're gonna stay here. You're gonna hang out with us. You're not gonna leverage this to get in front of the people, get in front of cameras, because they already know Donald Trump would be in front of cameras. He would ultimately be able to leverage this and benefit from some kind of PR move. And you already know that the far left side, their agenda, the whole, all of Joe Biden's minions are literally deliberately trying to keep Donald Trump in a box so he can't get in front of people, so he cannot campaign like Joe Biden's campaigning on the campaign trail. So I think it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do here. By the way, if you guys haven't already, do your boy a favor, hit the like button for the video. I really, really do appreciate you guys. And thank you so much for always sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. Who's in a live with me right now? We got Sean Flynn, we got Margaret Owens, we got Waldo Faldo, Patrick Hartman. What's going on, everyone? We got, oh, nice, Retretta, and we got Cam Harmon. All right, awesome. Keenan Ripon. What's going on, guys? So let's get back to it. So in both instances, Donald Trump is trying to get himself out of legal jeopardy as he makes another bid for the White House. But the outcome of the Supreme Court case will have lasting implications on future presidents, not just Donald Trump here. In fact, it goes on to say, because the justices will be answering the never before asked question of whether and to what extent does a former president enjoy immunity from prosecution for conduct alleged to involve official acts during his time in office. So guys, we're making history today. We're making history. Donald Trump is making history, right? So the high court's decision may not affect the New York City case, which it doesn't, because this is not really related to the it's really not related to the election. It's not really related to the election interference trial, which is taking place in Georgia with Fannie Willis, but I almost said DJ Alvin Bragg. DA Alvin Bragg has tried to tie this misdemeanor to election interference related charges so that he could upgrade this thing to a felony. So in theory, this could theoretically also affect his New York hush money trial case against DA Alvin Bragg. So there is relevance and importance between the Supreme Court hearing Donald Trump's case today and this case that is ongoing in New York City right now. So this is why Donald Trump was making the argument. And so anyway, so you got that going on, and many analysts are also saying that Juan Merchan has removed all doubt and has made it very clear whose side he's on at this point, right? So basically, some folks are saying that it's biased. He's biased. Meanwhile, others are saying that Donald Trump's team is ill prepared. What do you guys think it is? Is Donald Trump's legal team not prepared, or is Juan Merchan and DA Bragg just biased and they want to take Donald Trump down? Y'all let me know in the comments down below what you think. However, there are those who believe that instead of the prosecutors having to push to find Donald Trump guilty, it looks as if the defense team has to instead find him innocent. You know how in the United States court of law, you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, they've managed to flip-flop that rule for Donald Trump, because now it looks like he's guilty until he proves himself innocent. I know it's retarded. They're doing some backward stuff up there in New York City right now. So now critics, they're also pushing the judge to fine Donald Trump for his Truth Social posts on social media. So far they've counted like 10 posts that they're saying violate the gag order from Merchan, and the maximum amount that Donald Trump could be fined per post is $1,000. Now, obviously, there's not a whole lot of money for Donald Trump, but it's more of an annoyance and a nuisance. But the rumors are now swirling that Merchan is deciding whether to fine Trump or put him in jail. Now, the latter option is really not being pushed by the prosecution, because they already know that putting Donald Trump in jail would further give Donald Trump an edge in the 2024 presidential elections. But what happened between Judge Merchan and Donald Trump's lawyer, attorney Todd Blanche? Take a listen.
And you saw the day begin with what seemed like fireworks between the judge and Donald Trump's lawyer over this argument of the prosecution saying Trump's violated the gag order already. What happened?
That's right. So Trump is not supposed to be talking about any of the witnesses in the case, or pretty much anyone involved in the case other than Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and the judge, Juan Merchan.
Now, before they continue, I want you to, you guys are smart. I already know. You guys are sharp. You're going to pick up on this. You're going to see what side this guy is on. So just take a listen here. This guy is really, really biased. And at the end of this synopsis, this explanation in terms of what happened in the courtroom, I want you to tell me what side you think that this guy is on, because I think he makes himself very, very clear.
You saw the day begin with what seemed like fireworks between the judge and Donald Trump's lawyer over this argument of the prosecution saying Trump's violated the gag order already. What happened?
That's right. So Trump is not supposed to be talking about any of the witnesses in the case, or pretty much anyone involved in the case other than Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and the judge, Juan Merchan. And prosecutors laid out a series of 10 examples where they say, primarily on Trump's social media site, that he violated that gag order, whether talking about two-star witnesses, Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, or one post that seemed to reference jurors or potential jurors. And they said they want the judge to hold Trump in contempt. They stopped short, though, of saying incarcerate him. They said we're not seeking jail time for this contempt, but a warning that in the future that could be a possibility. And Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, tried to defend these posts that talked about the two witnesses, that talked about potential jurors, saying that Trump was responding to political attacks. And the judge repeatedly said, give me recent examples when either Michael Cohen or Stormy Daniels attacked Trump's politics. And Blanche repeatedly kind of shied away from that. He didn't actually give a specific example. He made a reference to something involving a document from 6 years ago. And the judge said, I want the most recent example. And at one point, Blanche asked the judge back a question saying, I don't know why we're talking about recent only. And the judge, you could hear his voice rising, said, I'm the one asking the questions here, not you. And it was really an intense moment. So the arguments ended there. We haven't yet got a ruling on that. There was a short break, and even during that break, Trump went on his social media site and made another post about the judge who is currently mulling this contempt request.
So the judge has yet to make a decision on what the punishment may be. It could be a verbal kind of slap on the wrist. It could be $1,000 fine per violation, which the prosecution wants, or he could place Trump in jail, which the prosecution is not seeking. And actually, the prosecution said that's perhaps what Trump wants, but they are leaning toward perhaps more of a verbal warning that jail time is possible. You're watching Donald Trump inside. How is his mood and how are you reading his mannerisms compared to other trials that we've watched?
You know, he's really stone-faced. He's stoic. He actually doesn't show very much emotion, and it's a great contrast to two recent trials. During his defamation trial over in a federal court a block away from here, throughout the 2-week-long trial, he would speak audibly so that anyone in the gallery could hear kind of moans of disgust at certain points, where the jury could hear it too, where lawyers and the judge had to repeatedly warn him, you could be in trouble for this. And during his fraud trial at the next building over during the fall, again, repeatedly he had to be warned about intimidating witnesses by talking during their testimony. The judge had to warn him, you cannot keep interrupting proceedings. But during this trial, during the first 2 weeks of this trial, except for one little instance, he has not talked very much.
That's noteworthy, especially now that the judge has to make this decision on what the punishment will be for these potential violations of the gag order. And Ben and Lilia will continue to...
So Donald Trump being Trump, I should say, you can't hold this guy down. So Trump posted about this entire ordeal on Truth Social, and he didn't mince any words. Now, according to the former president, Donald Trump, the judge in his hush money case, in this hush money trial case, has literally taken away his constitutional right to free speech with the gag order. And he even said that everyone is allowed to talk and lie about him, but Judge Juan Merchan is not allowing him to defend himself. Now, he went on to essentially call the proceedings as a kangaroo court and said that Merchan should recuse himself from this case. Now, as you guys are probably aware, and what do you guys think? Should Judge Juan Merchan recuse himself from this case? If you think the judge should recuse himself, just go ahead and type in recuse in the comment section down below. I think I've made the argument pretty clear why the judge should recuse himself. So you already know where I stand, but I want to hear from you guys. Because Judy Marquette says he's a corrupt judge. Maui Delk says he's guilty point blank. Okay. Keith Gibbs says recuse. Mim Allen says recuse. What's going on, Jerry Williams? Hey, Ron, Jerry from Colorado. Good to see you. Blessings as well. So a lot of y'all are saying recuse in the comments. We got Walking Stick saying recuse. Debbie Stanton. All right. So I see where you guys stand on this one. Now, as you guys might be aware, of course, the judge has he's got a pretty clear connection to the current administration, the Biden administration, along with a lot of the top Democrats. I mean, and this is some of the reasons why he should consider recusing himself, right? I mean, look at it like this, guys. The judge's wife is said to have worked with New York Attorney General Letitia James. You already know where Letitia James stands. She wakes up mad every morning. And she wakes up thinking about how can she harm Donald Trump. Do you want someone who used to work for Letitia James married to the judge who's going to preside over your case? I mean, are we really seriously having this conversation here? I mean, it's just crazy. Gilbert Leba Jr. says, hey, Ron, what's going on, brother? Did you look into what the judge unredacted, looking like the White House is in on it? Oh, man. No, I did not look into that. I think you mentioned that yesterday, and I did not get around to doing that. You're talking about Juan Merchan, right, Gilbert? Let me see. Juan Merchan. Unredacted. I'm just making a note to myself so I do look into that. All right. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that reminder. And this is why I love going live with you guys, because a lot of you guys, you share stuff with me that I can look into, because it's impossible to be on top of everything. There's so many things going on out here. Give your boy a like on the video if you haven't already. Totally appreciate you guys. And as always, thank you so much for sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. All right. So here's another reason why the judge should be recusing himself. His judge was discovered to have made millions of dollars through her firm by working for the likes of Representative Adam Schiff and Vice President Kamala Harris and even President Joe Biden himself, right? And now Judge Juan Merchan, as you guys just heard, was very strict with Donald Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche. He was also very strict with Donald Trump himself, because I just told you he asked to be excused for the day so he can hear the ruling of the Supreme Court case that's being presided over right now that directly involves him. It's his Supreme Court case, which could ultimately impact all of his cases, okay? The judge said, nope, you're going to stay here with me. You're going to stay up in this freezing cold courtroom. Rich says, did you hear Donald Trump toot in the courtroom? No, I didn't hear Donald Trump toot in the courtroom. Did you guys hear Donald Trump toot? I've been hearing rumors about that, but I haven't heard, I guess I wouldn't be able to see it. I hadn't heard anything about that. It sounds kind of funny though. I wouldn't want to be sitting next to him even if he did, or if he did rather. So anyway, but get this, so the judge that's ruling over Donald Trump's case is literally so biased though, you know? I mean, he's married to a woman who worked for Letitia James, who's clearly out to get Donald Trump, right? So how can you expect this judge to play fair, right? The judge is in cahoots with all of these top level Democrats. They are all after Trump. Like this is so blatantly obvious at this point, right? So and then you heard Donald Trump's lawyer getting yelled at, but by Judge Juan Merchan. So things aren't really looking all that fair right now in this new hush money trial case with DA Alvin Bragg over Stormy Daniels payments and whatnot, which is already a weak case. Oh my God, what a waste of New York City taxpayer resources, right? So on top of that, he even said that Blanche. So the judge said that Todd Blanche, which is Donald Trump's attorney, is losing credibility in this court. Can you believe this? Like this is like week one of the trial. And so this is like a day after the opening statements in the case. Experts are saying that this is not uncommon for court, though. Judges typically draw the line when they feel as if either the prosecution or the defense are going beyond what they're allowed to say. But it's extremely rare to hear the term credibility and it being lost within the courtroom. So I personally think that Judge Juan Merchan never had credibility for Donald Trump's lawyer to begin with. What do you guys think? Just comment yes or no down below on that one. If you think that Juan Merchan, the judge over Donald Trump's case, never had any credibility, had already predetermined that Donald Trump was guilty from day one, just go ahead and comment yes in the comments down below if you think the same. Because that in and of itself would probably convince people within the vicinity to also think along the same line as the judge. You see what I'm saying? So what the judge says can easily manipulate the audience. Not cool, because you have a jury here, right? You got 12 jurors and they're going to be influenced by what they hear. So the judge is already not playing fairly by, they're interfering with the election, but now the judge is interfering with the trial. The judge is supposed to be the referee here. And so in this case, it could show a jury that the judge is saying that the defense has nothing to stand on. So the judge is effectively already trying to discredit the Donald Trump's defense. This is like, please tell me, just just type yes, yes in the comments down below if I'm making any sense here. All right. All right. So, which now brings me to this opinion piece on New York Times that's making a lot of sense here. So this comes from Boston University law professor Jed Sugarman. And so Mr. Sugarman says that the DA, Alvin Bragg, bringing this case against Donald Trump will be seen as a historic mistake. He says that the opening statement of the prosecutors, a lot of you guys saying yes, yes in the comments down below. Joanne, Retretta, Jay Mullins, Teresa Be Kind. All right. So I am making sense. I appreciate it, you guys. All right, so he says this Boston law professor, Boston University law professor, is saying that the opening statement of the prosecutors in the case has proved that DA Alvin Bragg's bringing of this case will be a historic mistake. In fact, that their allegation about a criminal scheme to corrupt the 2016 presidential election is just completely vague. In fact, the concern is that their use of state law and their avoidance of specifying an election crime or even a valid theory of fraud. Now, the university professor goes on to say that Alvin Bragg's attempt to charge Trump with a federal election crime has just gone too far. Alvin Bragg's accusations, they also lack the clarity, and his team has not clarified what the crime is exactly that Donald Trump has been charged for. I mean, remember, this was a misdemeanor before DA Alvin Bragg. I keep saying Alvin Bragg. I'm just going to change his name to Allen so it's easier for me. But remember that this was a misdemeanor before DA Alvin Bragg upgraded it to a felony. So Mr. Sugarman, the Boston University professor, also cited 3 big, huge red flags that the prosecution would face if Donald Trump appealed a possible ruling. So first, there's no previous cases of any state prosecutor that's leaning on the Federal Election Campaign Act, either as a direct crime or as a predicate crime. This also shows a sign of overreach from DA Bragg's office. Secondly, you got Trump's lawyers saying that the New York statute requires that the underlying crime, it's also got to be a New York crime, not a crime in somebody else's jurisdiction. So you can't rule over someone else's backyard is basically what he's saying. And so Alvin Bragg was not able to cite one single judicial interpretation of this particular statute supporting their use of the statute. So you want to talk about not having credibility? Look at your boy Alvin Bragg, Judge. He doesn't have any credibility. I mean, like, what's really going on here? You know what I'm saying? So, so he couldn't cite one example. And then lastly, it says that it says here that no New York precedent has allowed an interpretation of defrauding the general public. Legal experts have noted that such a broad election interference theory is unprecedented, meaning it's never been done before, and a conviction based on it may not survive a state appeal. So yes, this is not looking too good for Alvin Bragg. But, you know, there's also the timing of the cases being brought against Donald Trump that everyone is seeing. The alleged crime or the cover-up, it happened 8 years ago, right? Which leads a lot of experts to question if this is more about Manhattan politics than it is New York law. And I think we already know what's really going on here, right? And this is why a lot of experts are piling on, and they're saying that even if Donald Trump is convicted, there's a high probability that he wins in the appellate courts. That is, if the prosecution can even get that far, right? Which doesn't really look like it's likely. But, you know, just kind of looking at this thing from all angles, from all aspects, but something that analysts won't, I see very few analysts that even believe that Donald Trump would actually lose his case, much less be prosecuted and put in jail. But what do you guys think about this? Like, you know, is Is this merely election interference? Or is this something bigger than election interference? Do you think Donald Trump is guilty of trying to defraud the American people? Do you think Donald Trump is innocent? And these are just all bogus charges being brought on by DEI and George Soros funded far left Democrat witch hunt participants? What do you guys think about all this? Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Sean Flynn says, yes, Ron. Stacy Wymore says bogus. Freedom Reign says Trump is innocent. Diana Spears says bogus. So Freedom Reign says, yes, exactly, Soros. So anyway, guys, I wanted to bring you guys this quick update. I got a lot more that I plan on sharing with you guys later today. If you haven't already, do hit the like button for your boy. I totally appreciate you guys. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and making sure your notification bell's turned on so you know when we do go live. And thanks so much for sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. You guys are absolutely the best community in the world. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See you.